WBAL Television, Baltimore. From your 24-hour news service, this is WBAL TV 11 Saturday Morning News.
A downtown hot dog vendor and his friend are gunned down in broad daylight. Police continue to search for suspects. Ross Perot could have a place in the White House if Bill Clinton is elected president. And relief from migraine headaches could soon be found in a spray bottle.
You know right away, Dick Brown is the chief.
Good morning, everybody. This is the TV 11 Saturday Morning News. I'm Dave Durian. And Rob Robin is here with the weather. Good morning.
Good morning, David. How are you today?
I'm awake.
We're awake.
We're out of the chute.
We're out of the chute. Well, we're starting off. We're both awake, and I guess that's pretty good. All in all, today, not a bad day. It's going to be hot and humid, but that's the kind of weather that you expect this time of year. We're looking for partly sunny skies. Yesterday, looking for the possibility of a few thunderstorms around. Maybe one or two, but nothing to really worry about. A good day to go to the beach out on the bay. High temperature 90 to 95 degrees. Winds out of the west 10 miles per hour. A little bit later on, the complete forecast looking into Sunday, and the weekend not looking that bad.
All right, all the weather you need coming up here on Channel 11. Baltimore City police have not made any arrests yet in the shooting of two hot dog vendors yesterday afternoon. Vendor John Trickolas is in critical but stable condition. His assistant, Mindy Merzda, is in serious but stable condition. The two were shot in front of the University of Maryland Dental School, just one block from shock trauma, where both were taken. An unidentified city man wasn't as lucky early this morning. Homicide detectives say a man was shot in the chest around 3 a.m. in the 1300 block of Cliftview Avenue and died at shock trauma. Police say the shooting was the result of a domestic dispute, and they expect to make an arrest shortly. That was one of several shootings in the city overnight, including a drive-by shooting in the 700 block of West Saratoga Street. That victim, 18-year-old Corey Schreiber, is in fair condition. Meantime, an Anne Arundel County man is in stable condition at shock trauma after he was shot 3 times in the back early this morning. Police say 34-year-old James Hawk of Pasadena was shot by his roommate, 53-year-old Dorsey Eugene Garland. Garland is in police custody. Police don't know the motive for the shooting, but they say both men had been drinking. Another Anne Arundel County man is in serious but stable condition at shock trauma after he was stabbed repeatedly during an alleged robbery attempt early this morning. Police say 19-year-old Andre Hubbard was stabbed when he was taking a man to look at a car he had for sale. They were driving toward Hubbard's house. Police say he was stabbed by Stephen Rainey. Charges against Rainey are pending. In Canton this morning, longshoremen are continuing their strike against a grain elevator company to protest the company's use of non-union workers. The longshoremen say Mississippi River Grain's decision to use non-union labor will cost them 38 jobs. The company says it can't use the union workers because of the high cost. So far, that strike has been peaceful. A big night for local artists and performers last night. They took to the streets to kick off the annual weekend-long Artscape celebration. In addition to a fine display of arts and crafts and a range of mouth-watering ethnic foods, local talent provided entertainment for children of all ages. Sharing the spotlight with the local artisans was none other than one of the divas of soul, Gladys Knight.
Gladys.
Yeah, Artscape continues all weekend, and how about the weather for it?
Well, it's good summer weather. If you go down with short-sleeve shirts, shorts, and try to stay a little cool. We're not looking for a high temperature of around 100 degrees like we had last weekend.
Good.
So a little bit of relief, but look for a high temperature of around 90 to 95 degrees. And as the day goes on today, we'll have fewer clouds around. Let's take a look at SkyCam, and you can see out there that we've got some clouds this morning. And the temperature, well, it's about average for this time of year. Under mostly cloudy skies, our current conditions. Let's take a look at them. 76, 77, 82 in the city. Humidity at 76%. The winds are out of the west at 7, and the pressure is 30.00 and rising. Few clouds around today. Today as a weak cool front moves through, and it will gradually push most of the clouds to our south, but you can see what's going on the satellite loop. A few clouds here and there, partly to mostly sunny skies by this afternoon, and Sunday's looking pretty good. Good day to go out on the bay today. Let's take a look, and you can see basically what's going on. On the bay, winds out of the west 10 to 15 knots, waves waves 1 foot. And we're going to have some thunderstorms in Virginia and the possibility of 1 or 2 on the eastern shore, but not very many. Most of us throughout the entire state, we're going to have partly cloudy skies in the cooler portion of the state. In the mountains in the 80s, most of us will be in the 90s, the low to mid 90s, upper 80s in the portion of the eastern shore. For today, partly sunny skies with a high temperature 90 to 95, winds out of the west at 10 miles per hour. So all in all, not a bad summer day. Tonight, muggy, partly cloudy skies with a low temperature 70-75, winds out of the west at 10 miles per hour. 5-day forecast, let's take a look. And you can see on Sunday, a little bit cooler with a high temperature of around 85 degrees and pleasant evenings as this little front moves through into Monday, high temperature of 86, so that's not bad, low temperature of 65 degrees. And then into Tuesday and Wednesday, getting hotter, and by Wednesday, look for the hot and muggies to return with a high temperature of 90 and a low temperature of 70 degrees. Dave?
Rob, thank you. Are you headed to the beach this weekend? Detour Dave Sandler has a look at the resort traffic. Morning, Dave.
Hey, Dave. Good morning to you. Traffic continues to run well throughout the area. We've checked out eastbound Route 50, and traffic operations gives us the go-ahead. Go ahead and join the traffic out there because no problems are reported from the Indianapolis area all the way across to the lower end of the eastern shore. If you're a John F. Kennedy Highway traveler trying to get out toward Delaware, no difficulty reported on the Harford County or Cecil County sides all the way across the Susquehanna. We'll check back in about a half hour. Dave Sandler, WBAL Traffic.
Thanks, Dave. Taking a look at world and national headlines this Saturday morning, thousands of people might not have been infected with the AIDS virus if blood banks had followed CDC recommendations way back in 1983. That's what the former head of the Centers for Disease Control's AIDS Research Branch says. He's testifying in the case of an AIDS-infected Colorado woman who was suing a blood bank for giving her a tainted transfusion. We may not have seen the last of Ross Perot. Democratic presidential candidate Bill Clinton, who toured a New Jersey aerospace plant yesterday, told reporters he wouldn't rule out the possibility of adding Ross Perot to his team if he were elected president. Though busy on the campaign trail, President Bush is still showing concern over international affairs. He met with Mormon church leaders yesterday in Salt Lake City to discuss the church's mission, including ending hunger in Africa and South America. The Supreme Court has rejected a California woman's attempt to keep the French abortion pills she brought into the country. U.S. Customs officials seized the RU-486 pills from 29-year-old Leona Benton earlier this month. Benton, who is 8 weeks pregnant, pushed for an emergency ruling. The RU-486 pill is not approved for use in the U.S. The proposed buyout of Maryland National Corporation is making headlines this morning, and that's the subject of today's morning business briefing. Pat Mayo from the Baltimore Business Journal joins us now in the story. Pat, appreciate you joining us this morning. Briefly, what is the development in the last couple of days on this story?
Well, essentially what has happened here is Nations Bank has has done what I would label as a sleepy investment of about $200 million in MNC Financial. And under the terms of the agreement, Nations Bank would have 5 years essentially to exercise its option to buy the bank.
This is called by some a stakeout takeover, meaning what? That it's not final yet. There's not a definite buyout in place right now. It's an option.
Right. It's called a stakeout buyout, and it's really not new. It's occurred in the early to mid 80s, but there were certain problems with it at that time, and it's since been fine-tuned, and this could be a trend,
yeah,
and be kind of a signal that this is the type of mergers that are going to happen in the future.
We would characterize this as some pretty good news for MNC. I mean, it's got a portfolio of some loans that really took it down profits-wise.
Right. That's correct. Essentially what's happening here is this is $200 million that's being dropped right on the bank, and they're going to be able to become more competitive now, and hopefully according to bank officials, that will mean possibly more lending, like the small business community or consumers even. All
right, MNC stock a couple years ago was up to 30. It was down to 2 at its low point. It's up to what now, 12, something like that?
About 11.
If you were a stockholder now or had a couple of $1,000s and were considering MNC stock, what's your prognostication there?
Well, it may not be as good a deal for MNC shareholders as you might think. In fact, it dropped slightly yesterday in trading on the New York Stock Exchange, and the reason for that is because that a takeover of MNC currently locks in the price, and it would prohibit possibly a better offer coming along somewhere down the road.
All right, but business-wise, MNC is in better shape with the infusion of cash right now.
Oh, right. Yeah, they're very happy. In fact, Chairman Lerner yesterday at the press conference lit up a couple Monte Cristo No. 2 cigars.
Really?
He was very happy.
Well, there's a pretty good indication. Pat Mayo, thanks very much. Still to come this morning on TV 11's Saturday Morning News, Weight Watchers rejoice. A pill could be on the way that actually targets fat. And the flock flies high again. The O's got back on the winning track in Texas last night. Those stories and more when we come back. But first, a few suggestions on some things to do this weekend.
Big down payment, not at Bob Bell. Big monthly payment, not at Bob Bell. Chevrolet Geo Nissan's early closeout sale. Get September prices in July on hundreds of cars and trucks for under $199 per month. Get a Chevrolet pickup for $159 per month. A Metro for $139. At Bob Bell Nissan, get a Sentra for only $149 per month. A hard body pickup for $159. Bob Bell Chevrolet Geo Nissan. Eastern Avenue across from East Point Mall and Route 1 Bel Air.
Meteorologist Tom Tasselmeyer.
Well, there isn't a piece of equipment here that we don't need. I mean, in order to really come up with the most accurate forecast you can have, you've got to have a way to display it to the public. You've got to have information that comes in there from around the world. You've got to have all these temperature sensors across the state and across Baltimore, and the radar pictures that come to us. All of this feeds into one forecast that we put out several times a day, the most accurate forecast you can get in Baltimore. Forecast Center.
Tom Tasselmeyer's forecast, weeknights.
This is Liz O'Neill. Monday at 6 a.m., Bill Clinton and Al Gore begin their first week of campaigning in the general election. Join us Monday at 6 for TV 11 News.
I like to get a new car every 2 or 3 years.
Now Cadillac offers a 30-month lease on the Cadillac Seville.
Why pay for the whole car when you only need to pay for the portion you use?
Since you simply pay for the period of time you drive, monthly payments total only $17,670 after your down payment. See your Cadillac Super Network dealers for details. It could change the way you think about American automobiles.
Because life is a celebration. Because the moments pass too quickly. Because we give up. And because we go on. Because life slips away. Because life is renewal. Because everyone needs a place to belong. Join us as we celebrate the vitality of the American family. Because the family works.
Lifestyle news for you this Saturday morning. A quick-acting migraine drug may soon be found in a nose spray. The Food and Drug Administration is reviewing a nasal spray version of the drug DHE45. Right now, the drug can only be given through injection or IV. Researchers have found the drug stops or greatly reduces migraine pain within an hour in most of the patients studied. One day, losing weight may be as easy as taking a pill. American and Swedish researchers have found a receptor on fat cells in rats that stimulates fat burning. There's a possible link between the receptor and obesity. So, if they find it in humans, a pill may be designed to target that receptor, causing it to burn calories in humans. If you're planning a vacation, you'll probably find the friendly skies aren't going to be as friendly to your wallet. Starting today, the nation's airlines are hiking their fares about $10 to $20 in most domestic markets. A large jump in the price of jet fuel is to blame for the increase. Some people will argue over anything, but WBAL Radio's Ron Smith and Allan Prell will argue over everything. Smith.
Well, Ross Perot has blown himself out of the water, and now it's a choice of the lesser of two evils. So go ahead. Which one are you choosing, Ron Smith?
Well, first of all, let me say that betrayal is not too strong a word to apply to Ross Perot. He basically said to his supporters, I told you I'd run if you got me on the ballot in all 50 states, but I was only kidding.
All right, enough beating on Ross Perot. He's out of the picture. We both know it. What are you stuck with, and with whom are you stuck with?
Well, of course, I'm stuck with Bush.
Why? Why? Is this a question of ideology over rationality?
No, I'll tell you what it's a question of. You can use it as this metaphor, Alan, and that is that we have a choice. We can either continue to drift aimlessly or we can take a hard turn to the left. I'd prefer to drift aimlessly.
Okay, drifting aimlessly with the engine turn off, you know, or you can select maybe going over the edge of the earth with George Bush. Nothing's happening. It hasn't happened in 4 years. What makes you think it's going to happen in the next 4 years?
To be honest with you, nothing makes me think it's going to happen in the next 4 years.
So you're willing to put up with the last 4 years for another 4 years in case... Wait, have you ever thought maybe Mr. Clinton would have improved the situation?
Yeah, I've entertained that possibility, but I've come up with the... No, wait a second. I've entertained the possibility, but I've come up with the answer that it's not likely. The mischief that could be done by a Democratic president with a Democratic Congress is almost beyond comprehension. You think we have intrusive big government now? Wait until 4 years of that.
Wait a second. Haven't we heard over the last few days at the Democratic Convention they're willing to change? Maybe that big government thing is gone, Ron Smith. Maybe it's going to be a little bit smaller.
Maybe it has, Alan, but I suspect that they've put on a midsummer disguise that will melt in the heat of the sun.
Are you saying that they're hypocrites and they don't even believe their own words? Now, come on.
Oh, I would never say any such thing.
No, down deep in their heart of hearts, don't you believe what they're saying?
No, I believe they want to get elected, and that if they are elected...
What's George want to do?
Oh,
what does he want to do after he's elected? There's the point.
Clinton and Bush, Alan, are birds of a feather.
Clinton wants to do something. George Bush wants to do nothing.
Sometimes it's better to do nothing.
Up next, the week in review and the Saturday Morning Sports Minute. But first, last night's winning lottery numbers. Stay with us.
Isn't it time we stop looking the other way?
I want to see him dead.
Dead?
Dead.
1 out of 4 families hide a shocking secret.
He would have sex with the one sister and make me watch.
Stopping the vicious chain of incest.
The court system denies this is happening.
Now, one woman says enough is enough. Plus, LA Law's Conchata Ferrell and Babes Leslie Boone tell about their hardships of being overweight in Hollywood on the next Maury.
Join me Monday at 4 on TV 11.
Coming up on the news magazine of the American scene. His chimps wear perfume and his food's named after cartoon characters. Enough Michael Jackson stories. Find out what really goes on at Michael's mega mansion from the people who know him best. His housekeepers. Michael behind closed doors. Then, B-movie actresses.
I really enjoy playing a bimbo.
No, the B doesn't stand for bimbo. Don't miss these bodacious bombshells on hard copy.
Monday night at 7:30 here on WBAL TV. Now, news at noon, 7 days a week, only from WBAL TV 11 News, Baltimore's 24-hour news service. They've worked all their lives. Now their dream comes true, retiring to a home in the country.
He said, Mr. Gorgoni, you have an excellent house here.
But what they saw was not what they got.
It's a terrible feeling in my gut right now to know that this could be done.
And the sad part is that we've had to delay our retirement.
Jane Miller and the 11 on Your Side team lay the foundation to show you what slipped through the cracks, beginning Monday at 11 on TV 11 News.
Kick it.
Nobody knows better than Arsenio that summer's all about having F-U-N. And this week's guests are totally hip to it, too. Like the one and only Bill Cosby, comic actor Martin Lawrence, funny lady Elaine Boozler, and LA Law's Susan Watan, plus baby bass with Tony Braxton, and sax man Dave Cobb. Yes!